Let's start by clicking the gear icon and then Preferences from the My Account column. This page allows you to set default preferences for many of the fields and functions in Denari. For example, if most of your names come from the state of Florida, then you could go to the default state field and enter that abbreviation. Now, when you add a new name record, that field will be filled in automatically for you, and you'll be able to change it in the future if needed. Most of the fields on this page are self-explanatory, so we'll only hit on the ones that need some explanation. The first field to look at is at the top, Year for Year-to-date Calculation. This is an important field. There are a few places in Denari where the year-to-date is calculated, like the thank you receipt, the donor's giving stats, etc. Denari simply adds up the gifts for the year set in this field. So why doesn't Denari know what year it is and use that? Normally, in the first week of January, you will be receiving gifts that were intended for the previous year. When you print thank you receipts for those gifts, your donors will want to see the year-to-date for that previous year. So this field allows you to change the setting as needed. For example, on January 1, you may come to this field and change it to the new year. During that week, you may enter gifts dated in the new year. You can then run receipts for those gifts, and Denari will calculate the year-to-date for the new year. But also during that week, you may enter several gifts for the previous year. The batch that you enter them in will have a date from the previous year. If you run receipts for those gifts without making any changes to this setting, Denari will print the year-to-date for the current year. So you will need to first change this setting back to the previous year, run the receipts for that year, then change it back as needed. You can do that as often as you like to get the year-to-date correct on your receipts. Remember, Denari is using the gift date on the batch and the year that you've set here to calculate the year-to-date. It's also important to point out that this setting only applies to the year-to-date calculation. It doesn't affect any other statistics or reports. Toward the bottom of this page, we find the street and city to proper on output. If you're using the standardization feature, when Denari standardizes a name record, it puts it into the format dictated by the U.S. Post Office. That means that the street and city are in all uppercase and the name fields are in upper lowercase. This is a post office thing, not a Denari thing. By default, when that prints on statements like your thank you receipts, it will print in just that format. But you can change that here if you'd like. There are four options. As is without any transformation. This simply means that it will print it as you see it in your data. Proper without punctuation. Proper means that it will be upper lowercase. The first letter of the name, for example, will be capitalized and the rest of the letters will be lowercase. There will be no punctuation. Proper with punctuation. This one is pretty self-explanatory. And finally, all uppercase. This just puts everything, name, address, city, in uppercase. This setting only applies to statements and reports that Denari prints. It does not change the way the data looks in the name record itself. Next is Allow Edit of Donor Intro Appeal. By default, Denari sets up the source code field, the one you select when adding new names, as a non-editable field. That field tracks what fundraising function generated that name in your data, and the assumption is that you won't ever need to change that field. However, sometimes it is necessary to make a change, so you can check this box, which will turn that field on the name record page into an editable field. You can come back and uncheck it whenever you'd like to make it an uneditable field again. The default to multi-sponsorship checkbox field applies to clients using the sponsorship module only. By default, Denari assumes that all sponsored names will have only one sponsor or pledge. Checking this box will change that to allow multiple sponsors per sponsored names. You can also change this on an individual basis as well, allowing multiple sponsors for just one sponsored name record, but this changes that on a global level. Finally is the printed batch receipt page size. This refers to an alternate receipt option that allows you to print thank you receipts with photos in the letter body. If you want to use this option, we will need to set that up separately from the normal receipt process. This field lets you choose between letter and legal size receipts and is usually set by a Synergy staff person when the template is set up. This concludes this video on company preferences. If you have any questions, please contact our tech support office by clicking the Help button at the top of Denari.